Tubers, tubettes, and of course the colorful collection of crazy people. Well, the time has come. You've worked hard all your life. You've scrimped and you've saved. You've got your retirement income coming in. You've got your nest egg set aside, and you've decided that you're going to spend your golden years here in the Philippines. What could go wrong? Well, we're going to tell you. Ignorance is no excuse for the law. And in this video, I actually discovered things that I didn't know where I could have been held accountable for my actions because I simply didn't know they were illegal. There are things here that could get you jailed, could get you blacklisted, could get you arrested, could get you deported. So I'm going to have a chat with my attorney, Jim, and we're going to go over some of those very topics. Be it your visa status, be it acquiring land or property, and the ever popular relationship issues. So here comes my video with Attorney Jim. Well, alrighty guys, as I mentioned in the description, I have a very distinguished guest with me today, and I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. He is an attorney here in Dumaguete. And Jim, will you please give the folks a little idea as to who you are?
Yes, thank you, Paul.
My pleasure.
I'm attorney Joseph James Gara. I am a lawyer here in the Philippines. I have a small law firm here in Negros Oriental in the city of Takay.
Okay. And you graduated from where?
I graduated with a Juris Doctor degree from Silliman University College of Law.
Awesome. And how old are you, Jim?
I'm 34.
34.
Yes.
What kind of water do you drink?
I can't tell you.
Okay. All right. And you are a married family man, from what I understand.
Yes, I am. I am married to a beautiful wife, and I now have a small kid.
All right. Awesome. And so I guess what the gist of this is I wanted to get into some stuff that what would get an expat, a foreigner such as myself, what would get us into some legal snafus? So what would be an offense that I would commit that could possibly put me in jail?
Mm-hmm. So I think to answer that question, basically, generally, all laws here in the Philippines, all valid laws here in the Philippines are applicable to foreign nationals as well. But I think the main issues that we're being consulted with in our law firm is basically those that relate to murder, physical injuries, rape, violations of anti-violence against women and children, sexual assault, basically, and there are also concerns as to property disputes between a Filipina wife or a Filipino partner with a foreign national.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So those are the highlights of the lowlights.
Yes, but basically, a crime can basically be committed by a foreign national here in the Philippines. There are no special treatments. There are no discriminations whatsoever.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Do they look at foreigners any better or any worse? And you're saying it's fairly neutral. A crime's a crime.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Well, I must say that. Hopefully there's some sort of discrimination or special treatment when it comes to law enforcement.
Let's hope.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
We can only hope.
So I don't think out in the crowd there I've got more than just a handful of murderers. So let's run with the majority. And these are guys that are going to be coming out here, and I imagine they're going to try to enhance their love life a little bit, their romance situation, their living situation. They're going to be older gentlemen. There's a really good chance that they're going to probably meet somebody with a bit of an age gap in the relationship. What kind of caution should a foreigner, what are some of the red flags that a foreigner should look for as he enters into a relationship with a Filipina?
Mm-hmm. Well, just like in any relationship, I think what you need to determine really is what is the marital status primarily of the person that you are dating with or having a serious relationship with. Because there are a lot of complications that a married woman or being engaged with or having a relationship with a married woman.
Okay.
So I think that is also like one of the primary considerations, and also age as well, because it seems that there are cases wherein foreign nationals are involved with underage minors.
Oh, that's a very good point. And I think my little joke at the beginning about what kind of water do you drink? You're 34 years old.
Yes.
And I'm not being overly complimentary or glib or anything. You look to me like you're in your 20s. Okay, and that's a total compliment. And
Yes.
I think that runs just in the genetics here. So I have met both males and females. I've asked them their age, and more often than not, I'm thinking that they're 5 to 10 years younger. So if I was to meet a woman and she looks to be really young, and yet she told me that she was 18 or 20 or 25 or whatever the number is, wouldn't it be prudent, and I know it's a little rude, but wouldn't it be prudent for me to ask for her ID?
Well, yes. Basically, yes.
Okay.
Because, well, if someone looks young, then assume that she's actually young. I mean,
Yeah.
if she's
Yeah.
if she looks like a minor child,
Yeah.
then it is really safe for you to assume that she's a minor child,
Yes.
regardless of whether she says that she's 18 or 19.
Right.
And it's really important for you not to do anything serious with her, unless you have a certain that indeed she's of legal age.
Right. And there's some guys that are under the misconception about the age of consent out here. So, age of consent between two Filipinas, Filipino and Filipina, my understanding is 16 years old.
It's 18.
It's 18.
Yes.
So where did I get the number 16? Or was I just wrong?
Well, there are different laws when it comes to rape, meaning there are also ages to consider when it comes to statutory rape.
Okay.
So basically, but once, well, a minor child is a child below 18 years of age.
Okay.
So if she's below 18 years of age, then definitely it's not wise for you to be involved in that particular child.
Absolutely.
Because you might have an issue with the law with regard to the child abuse law.
Oh, sure. Now, you mentioned marriage out here. Let's say, Paulie boy here isn't a married old man like I am today. Let's say that I'm going on a date tonight, and I meet a woman, and I know she's of legal capacity to meet me and all that. And I say, hey, are you single? And she says, yes, I am. And in fact, she's married. Have you got a way around that, or a way to navigate that?
Well, in that situation, well, considering that you're just talking about initial meetings, about
Sure.
dating, then perhaps it is really it is really important for you to look into whether she's really single or married, if you will enter into a more serious relationship with that particular person. Because, well, perhaps one of the criminal or the legal implications in terms of the criminal side of things is if you have like sexual intercourse with a married woman, the husband may move forward and file a complaint against the woman, against his wife, and then along with the male partner. So that might put you into trouble as well.
Wow.
So if ever you will really get into a serious relationship with a Filipino, it's really best to ascertain whether she's single or married.
So that's criminal.
It is. There are criminal implications.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'd heard that, but now we've validated it, and I'm glad to know that. So how would I know that a Filipina is single?
Well, basically, if you have entered into, like, it has become more intimate, your relationship becomes more intimate, and you are ready to live each other as husbands and wives or as cohabitants, then perhaps you can sit down and have a serious conversation as to what is her marital status. And the said marital status can be confirmed through a document called a CENOMAR, a Certificate of No Marriage. So, of course, in your initial talks, you would not ask whether she has a Sanomar or not. That would be funny. I mean, you will not have another date with her if you do that. But yeah, I want to emphasize, if you if you're trying to enter into a serious relationship, you have to do that.
A little overkill for coffee.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
But what we're talking about here is now we've courted one another for 5, 6, 7 months,
Yes.
whatever the time frame is, and you're thinking about cohabitating with her.
Yes, at the
then
very least. Yes.
It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's to cut the CYA, as we say, and to ask for a cinema.
Yes.
And that is simply a document that you get at the Philippine
Statistics Authority.
Yes. I had to get one of those when I got married, and they had to produce one of those, my wife, prior to our marriage. And so that is something that I think would be prudent. It's trust but verify. And I know it sounds kind of hardcore, but what I'm thinking is that I'm in a foreign country where I don't really have any rights like I'm afforded in my home country. And so I need to do everything that I can to stay under the radar and not get myself in trouble, because it's not good. I got a feeling it's not good to be in jail here.
Yes, definitely. You would not want to spend the night in jail here in the Philippines.
No.
Yes.
No.
It won't be comfortable.
It will not be comfortable. Oh, man. All right, so let's see. We talked about, I wanted to touch on, we're talking about cohabitating with people. We're going to want to make sure that we're not with someone that's married. What about acquiring property together with another person? Let's just say that we're still boyfriend and girlfriend. We're not married or anything. She's single, I'm single, and I want to buy some property. I know that I can't buy any property in my name only over here, and I'm going to need her name to be on it. So where do we stand with that? If we moved forward and we purchased property together, we built a home, maybe she was employed when I met her, and I said, you know what, baby, why don't you just retire, I'll take care of you. Now a couple of years has gone by, and we're not that fond of one another anymore.
Yes.
She's gotten to know the real me. And we're going to separate. So where do I stand in all that?
Well, there are two scenarios actually that we need to consider. If the situation is you don't have any legal impediment to marry, both of you are single and you are of legal age to actually enter into marriage if you decide to do so, then the rule is there is that presumption that the property or the acquisition of certain properties are of equal shares.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's a 50-50.
Yes, it's 50-50. That's a presumption that it's 50-50.
Now, is that if you're unmarried but have acquired
Yes, if
property?
there are no legal impediments to marry for both of the parties.
Okay.
But if there are legal impediments to marry, for example, the Filipina partner is actually previously married, then in that situation, actual contribution will be looked into.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Because there are legal impediments to marriage. So perhaps those are the different treatments when it comes to being in a relationship with someone who has legal impediments to marry and someone who has no legal impediments to
Will
marry.
that play in my favor or against me?
Well, it actually depends. I mean, when there are no legal impediments to marry, it protects basically the Filipina partner, because the law presumes that she contributed to the acquisition of the property, even if her contribution or role is with the management of the household.
Got it.
Yes,
Okay.
it's taken into consideration. But if that particular person is actually previously married, then there is no such presumption.
Ah, all right.
Yes, but I think I need to mention
Please.
that there is that constitutional prohibition for foreign citizens to acquire and own real properties here in the Philippines. So definitely foreign nationals, or the title or the ownership of a particular property cannot be under the name of a foreign national for real properties.
Right.
Real properties meaning land.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
But for personal properties like motor vehicles, whatsoever, jewelries, then there is no such prohibition or restriction on that aspect.
So a car.
Yes.
I can own a car here,
Yes.
but I cannot own the land that the car is parked on.
Yes.
You own the car, but not the parking spot. Oh well, here we go. Well, we validated and clarified that, which I think is very strong. Now, what kind of red flags should we be looking for when we are looking for property? Let's just say I'm going to go out with my wife, and we're going to look for a house or a lot to build a house on, which in fact is a true story. We've begun that process. What do my wife and I need to look out for?
Yes. So basically what you need to look at are the documents that are relevant to the purchase of the land, meaning you want to see whether that particular land has what we call a torrens title.
Okay.
So
could you repeat that title?
torrens title.
Okay.
Yes, that is being issued by the Registry of Deeds in the province where the land is located. So there are still lands here in the Philippines that do not have torrens title, meaning, or there must be a reason, or there must be a possibility that it's still a public land, or a land of public domain, and that is not, or there are also lands that contain restrictions as far as the agrarian law is concerned.
Understood.
So it is really important for you to check the title of the property and see, well, who is the owner, especially because you might enter into a transaction with somebody who acts like a seller but actually has no ownership over the land. So that's also one of the red flags that you need to look into. And another thing is if the land is not actually alienable and disposable and cannot be subject of a transfer or sale to a private person.
And from my understanding out here is that myself as a buyer, I really have no representation other than an attorney. Is that correct?
Yes.
Let me just back up a little bit. Real estate agents in America, where I'm from, is I can have a buyer's agent. This person, man or woman, works only on my behalf, and they are there to protect me, to make sure that the property I'm buying is free and clear. There's no encumbrances. It goes, generally they request a home inspection, make sure there's no termites, on and on and on and on and on. And so I feel very comfortable by the time that process is done, I sign my name and I take possession of the property. That doesn't exist out here. Am I correct?
Yeah, generally no. There are no agents but agents that act to your interest. So it is really important for you to get an independent attorney.
Okay.
For that independent attorney will be able to assess the documents with regard to the land and to also identify whether there are legal complications involved in the sale of the property. So usually the agents that are listing agents, they are only interested into selling the property to you, regardless of whether there are complications or issues involving the property. So it is really important for you to get someone who you can trust, who you believe is really independent when it comes to the transaction.
And one other thing, so I could call you up and say, hey man, I'm trying to buy this property. Can you look into it for me?
Yes.
And you can let me know if there's 5 obstacles, no obstacles, and you can convey the fact that, Paul, maybe you should just back away from this. It's too complicated.
Yes. At the very least, we inform our clients what are the complications when it comes to buying certain properties, because there are also situations when, even if there are legal issues, that the buyer still wants to move forward with the transaction, and like they're willing to assume the risk of, for example, not having the property titled, or facing like tax audits, for example, on the property. If they're willing to assume that risk, then at least they're properly informed of that.
Okay, so if they decide to move forward, which is probably not prudent, that at least they've been told what's in front of them. Forewarned is forearmed. And so I guess we'll leave it at that. But it is a complex process out here.
It is, yes.
And you do not tread lightly. And it is, there's just no formula, there's no comps, there's none of the stuff that we're afforded back in America. But it is what it is. So you have to either just adapt, adjust, and accept it and move forward, or put it out of your mind. I guess there's no other way to put it. All right, so let's get into what might get somebody blacklisted or deported. Could you touch on that?
Yes. Basically, what the foreign nationals need to be conscious of is the period or duration of stay that is allowed by the visa that was approved or issued to him. Because there are different types of visas that are involved in staying here in the Philippines, so it is really important for you to be conscious of that duration. And if ever you need to have that number of days extended, then do so.
Okay.
Because otherwise that may result to an assessment for penalties, or at worst you might be blacklisted from entering again here in the Philippines, or you might get deported. And of course, you must not have any record of performing any criminal act, because
Right.
Along with the criminal process, there is a possibility that the court may issue a whole departure order, for example, or a deportation order if
Okay.
that is if there are grounds for the issuance of those orders.
And I have found that, you could have a guy that has not committed any criminal activity whatsoever, is just a nice guy, but unfortunately he's hit a financial roadblock. And it seems like one of the first things to go is the trip down to immigration to extend his
Yes.
visa. And I really want to emphasize that if you're going to be proportioning your budget, that be the priority, that you keep that puppy up to date. And
Yes.
would you agree?
Yes,
Because
definitely.
I mean, you're just a normal Joe, and you're just a nice guy. You're not hurting anybody. You're living by yourself, but
Yes.
you're blowing your money faster than you think you were going to. And you say, well, next month I'll catch up with that. Next month I'll catch up with that, and you don't know the severity of it. And you go a year or more. I mean, we got to do a disclaimer on this because we're not giving legal advice.
Yes.
But off the top of my head, I'm thinking, you go over a year, they're going to pay attention. If someone rolls you under the bus or reports you that you've overstayed your visa, then that can be a real issue. Well, let's do our disclosure right now. If you want to tell the folks that we're not giving legal advice.
Yes, definitely. Our discussion on legal principles is basically general. I mean, it does not specifically apply to you. And for us, like for lawyers like me, to actually provide competent advice, it is important to look into the facts that is special to the client. So if you have a particular, like you are in a particular legal situation, then it is important for you to seek out and consult with an attorney rather than consider what our discussions is as advice on your part.
Well, they know we don't give advice on this channel
Yes.
anyway.
Yes.
And if I did, they wouldn't take it. But what I am going to ask for here is, we've covered a couple of topics, but we never drilled in deep on any of them. It was just kind of an overview on some of the things that could get myself, yourself, a foreign national in some sort of hot water or trouble, and tried to present it in a way that maybe it could become avoidable. There are steps that you can take, such as the Cinemar, such
Yes.
as the making sure that they're of legal capacity as far as their age. Looking at property, knowing up front that no matter what anybody tells you, all the title's clear, the house it's good, don't worry about it. Yeah, you can use that road, blah, blah, blah. Great. Well, let's get an attorney involved.
Yes.
And and make sure that everything you're saying is in fact true. And so what I would ask for the audience here is, since it was so topical, and I know you folks aren't afraid to pipe up, is if there's any topic here that you feel that you would like us to really unpack
Yes.
and drill down into more. Jim, would you be kind enough to return to the program, and maybe we could do a video on just that one topic?
Yeah, definitely. It will
Awesome.
be my pleasure.
Awesome. And do I have your permission to put a contact in the description for someone that can route a question your way? Would
Yeah,
that
sure,
work for
definitely.
you?
Yeah.
All right, we'll work it that way then. And so we'll be able to set that up. If you have any inquiries or questions or comments, please feel free to contribute to the channel and ask those questions, and we'll do our level best to get those answered for you. Until then, we will see you crazy people later. Say goodbye, Jim.
Bye-bye.